Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about indirect manipulation. I wanted to talk to you about this as soon as I found out about it, but I hadn't yet found the right way to communicate this with you. So I was working on how to explain this type of manipulation to you in a way that makes sense. Now, indirect manipulation is something that that is subtle and that when seen on its own it can be perceived as meaningless, but once you have an idea of what the goal is of the person, business, organization, or whatever, and then you see their actions or the structure of the environment that surround the target, then you will start seeing the truth. And the easiest way for me to communicate that with you is to start with something that we're all familiar. So I'm gonna start talking about how casinos use indirect manipulation on the gamblers. So the first three things that came up to mind that casinos do to the gamblers is the lack of clocks on the wall. It is the placement of the restrooms. The restrooms are strategically located and not conveniently located. And lastly, let's see. Oh yeah, and lastly, the free drinks if you are gambling. Now, at we all know that alcohol clouds your thinking, and that uh, it increases the chance that customers will take an extra risk or a poor move, which results in more profit for the casinos. The lack of clocks is to keep the customers unaware of the time, to keep them gambling as long as possible. And a trip to the restroom means that you're going to have to walk by maze like hallways and many rows of machines, which increases your chances of making an extra gamble or two. Now, let's say that someone had built a case against a casino, right, for manipulating its customers. And they use the examples that we talked about as evidence of the manipulation. So, refuting any type of manipulation and just covering it with something else is super easy. So the casino's lawyer is gonna paint them as something else very easily, such as the drinks are complimentary to bring in more customers and to increase customer satisfaction. The lack of clocks, it can be attributed to the intention of helping customers relieve the stress of always being on a time constraint. And lastly, the location of the restrooms can be attributed to aesthetics. It could be like there can be many other reasons that they could make these manipulations pass by as. Now, so let's put ourselves in the eyes of a naive person who is about to go to their first casino. Now, we're gonna be there and we're gonna look at everything with a sense of wonder. So we're gonna possibly not even notice a lack of clocks. So we're gonna probably just literally lose track of time. The route to the restrooms filled with lights and machines is just gonna seem like a walk around Disneyland. and the free drinks were just going to be seen as free alcohol. Um, if we don't know the goal of the casino, we will be completely unable to see these devices, even when they're being executed right in front of us, because we don't have the lens of context. This is indirect manipulation because it is done to serve the casino at the cost of the well being of the gamblers and their money. So, with that example in mind, we can all agree that indirect manipulation is very real. We can also agree that it can be easily be denied. And we also agree that one single of these devices doesn't really do much. But if you place many of these devices, one on top of the other, it can significantly sway the behavior of the people to make it more profitable for the casino, even if it comes at a loss and well-being of the target. Now, now, keeping in mind that there is such thing as indirect manipulation, I could easily just blame all my past misfortunes on the gang stalking's influence. But in order for any of that to work, it needs the most important thing, and it's my participation. So, more than half of what happened to me was my fault. And it was my desire to engage in those types of activities and to engage with those types of people that opened the doors for them to manipulate me. I gave access to them to me. So that is the one thing that I should have cut. But the thing is that I didn't know what indirect manipulation was. I had no idea. And I'm gonna tell you the things that I found out this time around the relapse that I had. So I went with a friend who invited me to his place. I haven't known this guy for a really long time. So I go to his place and he hands me a Viagra. I take it. We kind of mess around, but his body language tells me no. Yet he is saying the complete opposite with his voice, which can be kind of confusing. So whenever you feel that someone's actions are saying something, but the voice is saying something else, listen to the body. Because the body never lies, but the voice very easily can be made to deceive. Now, well, in the past, during any situation like this, I would have stayed there and lost hours of my time. But I had gone through similar circumstances that I was just like, nope, I'm done here. So then I was like, I have to go, and then I left. So then after that, I ended up meeting another friend. His name is Higgins, and we had talked before. And well, I was already smoking. I was already on a roll. So, and this guy, we had spoken before about hooking up, and it never happened. So I went to this guy's place, and when I get there, there is another guy already. So there's two, and then I get in there. So he never tells me that there's another person there. So I go there and I take my shoes off and then I get on the bed. So, well, we we smoke, and then one of them notices my feet. He looks at my toenail and notices that my toenail is normal. And I swear to you, he got upset by it. He had an expression of shock, and he expressed anger. So, like, I had never met this person before, but somehow this person knew that I had bad toenails before, that I was very embarrassed of. Not only because I always used to hook up wearing socks, because I was very ashamed of my toenail condition. But how how is someone who I am just about to meet gets upset about my toenails? And he he does put an expression of disbelief, and I was like, okay, so he's a gang stalker because he knows about my feet and he's heard about me. So that was my first clue. I was like, okay, yeah, this is done. But it ends up being a little bit more fun than I thought. So I ended up no, he started topping me first. And then he finished. And then his friend began topping me too. Uh, and then, well, the porn was playing, and the porn was pretty much like little Latin boys getting plowed by exceedingly endowed African American men. And I was like, okay, this looks a little bit familiar. So then, uh, well, that was that. I was done there, so then I went home, but I kept being online. So all these events happened within a span of 3 days. All right. So then the next one was that it was at with the guy that I had hooked up before, and oh wait. So before I leave the guys' RV, um, I exchanged numbers with the guy that was there, and when I left, he literally sent me a text message with a hookup website, which was one that I got really addicted to. It is called BBRT, and well, that's another detail that I'm gonna come to come back to later. So then, my next play date was with the guy who wanted to bottom. So I went to see him, and well, we were getting to it, but then he said, "Oh, my friend is gonna be watching here," and I was just like, "All right, that was kind of weird, but okay." So then he got into position, and then I well began doing my thing, and he began squeezing his butt like to cut off the circulation of my dick. And I told him, hey, you need to stop doing that. So like I became really adamant about and really anal, no pun intended, about how he was squeezing his butt. So this is the thing. This had has happened a lot of times where I would play with someone, and then close or halfway through, they would just start squeezing their butt, and it would cause my erection to go down. So this would pretty much prevent me from topping. And but this is the thing. His friend that was only supposed to be watching was literally was sitting right in front of me, playing with his dick, which I mean, it could be seen like as while you're having sex, of course, going to be playing with his dick. But this is where everything makes sense. So, since the very beginning of my addiction, people on BBRT